Live is The Herd. Wherever you may be and however you may be listening, iHeartRadio, Fox Sports Radio, and right here on FS1. Joy Taylor is joining me. We thought today would be one of those summer layup days. You come in, have some fun. And now we got ourselves a lead story. We got a topic, Westbrook to Houston.
Yeah, I'm wearing Rockets colors today. This NBA offseason is the gift that keeps giving.
It's incredible. Yeah, and I'll say this again. Outside of the finals, I'm not sure the offseason for the NBA is not way better than the regular season. It's fascinating. Why do you talk NBA, Colin? Example 38 in the last 2 weeks. This is why I talk the NBA. It's the great soap opera. By the way, Westbrook and James Harden, according to a reporter in Houston, both pushed for a reunion. Yeah, this is the gorgeous Hollywood couple, breaks up, gets back together, and 6 months later, why do we get back together? We couldn't stand each other. It's not going to work long term, but it's interesting. I mean, we just know Westbrook wouldn't work with Kobe. Harden wouldn't work with Kobe. They're all too ball dominant, right? So when it doesn't work perfectly and it doesn't win in Houston, we're all going to blame Westbrook, right? That's what Colin Cowherd was going to do. The Herd's going to bang on Westbrook. But no, it will be on Harden too, because James Harden is simply a better version of Russell Westbrook. He's a much better player. That's it. It's the same guy, one's better. James Harden dominates January. James Harden, because he dominates January, is exhausted by the second round of the playoffs. James Harden's difficult to play with. James Harden takes most of the defensive side off because he expends so much energy on the offensive side. Both Harden and Westbrook are hard to play with and unravel late, and I've watched one unravel Westbrook and one quit Harden in the postseason. And their stories are similar. Oklahoma City was convinced Westbrook was the answer to everything, and a very smart guy, Sam Presti, wouldn't listen to anybody and ignored Westbrook's issues, which even I could spot. And Daryl Morey in Houston, Harden's the answer to everything and won't listen to anybody that says he's hard to play with. Nobody wants to play with him. I can bang on Westbrook all day. KD, Harden, Oladipo, everybody gets better. Melo tried to work with Harden. Chris Paul tried to work with Harden. They tried to work Harden in Oklahoma City with Westbrook and Durant, and they got rid of him. It's not like James is easy, but James is better than Westbrook. He's one of the great one-on-one players in the history of the NBA, but both Westbrook and Harden, they're not bad guys. Westbrook had Billy Donovan for years as a coach. They got along. Harden's not a bad guy. He gets along with D'Antoni. They're not coach killers. They're not bad guys. They're both fashionable. They're both really fun to watch. But they both have a huge flaw, is that the NBA playoffs for 40 years has been officiated differently than the regular season. So you get to the playoffs, and with each round, the referees swallow the whistle and let more pushing and more bumping and more physicality. And Westbrook and Harden get much less efficient and much more frustrated once they get into the playoffs, and both erode and dissolve and don't look like the same player. The difference is, of course, Harden's just a better version of it. He's a better version. And both Oklahoma City with Westbrook and Houston with Harden, we talk about them. They're great highlights. They're on TV all the time. They're fascinating. They make you choose sides. Harden's so great, but very polarizing. Westbrook's an amazing talent, but polarizing. And both disappoint us in the playoffs. So when this doesn't work, everybody's going to bang on Westbrook. But if you look at most championship players in my lifetime, they play both sides. They elevate in the playoffs. Tim Duncan played defense. Garnett played defense. Paul Pierce played defense. Kobe played defense. Pippen played defense. D. Wade played defense. LeBron played defense. Scottie Pippen played defense. Most Kawhi Leonard plays defense. Harden and Westbrook have so much energy on the offensive end, dribbling around the floor, they can't play great defense. Harden's gotten better, but he's exhausted. Westbrook tries, but he's exhausted. Their games are fascinating, but severely flawed. It's just that Harden's is flawed less. But Houston's convinced he's the answer to everything, Harden, and OKC was convinced that, of course, Westbrook was the answer to everything. But neither is, and both will struggle to play with each other. Chris Carter talked about it this morning on First Things First. Just because you're talented doesn't mean you play well with others.
I've been around too many of these guys. These guys are so self-absorbed. I know that. I was one of them guys, man. And let's not forget what Harden has done the last several years. Last year, 36, 6, and 7. I don't need Russ. I just did this by myself. Harden is playing the level right now. He feel like he don't need anyone. And when he gets in the playoffs, that's his mentality. So what's he going to do to Russ? He's going to turn the team over to Russ? Like, man, this is a juggling act. Like, so Russ is just going to take a back seat now after having his own team? I don't know how they're going to do it. If you look at the time of possession, both of them have the ball. It's impossible for them to continue playing the style they're playing.
By the way, you could make the argument they'll change, but I was told something years ago by a very successful financial planner, very smart guy, smarter than me. He says people don't change unless they're going to go broke or die. You can go up to a billionaire at 50 and say, you're going to go broke unless you change. He'll change. Or you can go to that 50-year-old billionaire and say, if you don't stop smoking, you'll die, and he'll stop smoking. But when you take a 20 or a 30-year-old who's got 150, 200 million in the bank and have been rewarded for their selfishness, and you say, just change, they won't. Why would they? They're fashion icons, NBA stars, talked about, 30 million a year on shoes. They're not going to change. Why would I change if the market keeps rewarding me? I'm only changing if I'm dying or going broke, and Harden and Westbrook are doing neither. Let me shift to this. I am an opinionist, and this morning, everybody wants to know who won the trade. Whenever a trade happens, who won the trade? This team, A team, B team, that team. Neither did. Now, Vegas believes Houston did, but I can make an argument for both. Neither really won the trade. Now, Houston does get Westbrook. He is younger, healthier, still mostly in his athletic prime, and Chris Paul wasn't. And Houston got rid of Chris Paul's contract. That's first or second worst contract in the league. So Houston, have a parade. Oklahoma City can say this morning, we were being held hostage by Westbrook. He was screaming at reporters. He couldn't get along with teammates. He was hard to coach. No other star worked. And we got a bunch of draft picks. Oklahoma City, you go throw a parade. In my opinion, neither won. The minute Chris Paul's hammy went sideways for Houston, they were absolutely screwed. Daryl Morey this morning got the worst analytic three-point shooter late games in the league. Is that a win? And Oklahoma City got a bunch of draft picks. Congratulations, you'll be awesome in 2034. You know what these are to me? Oklahoma City and Houston. Both had ships, and both ships were sinking. And Oklahoma City said, hey, we're going to let it sink. We're going to get our insurance money back. We're going to start over and buy a new boat. We're just going to let it sink, take some insurance money, let it sink. And that's what they did today. We're just letting the boat sink. But we're going to recoup draft pick / insurance money, so we got some of our money back. Houston saying, we're not letting the boat sink. We're going to salvage it. We're going to pay a lot of money, and we're going to patch up the hole in the boat. Okay, it's still leaking. Yeah, patch it up. Forget the insurance money, draft pick. We're going to try to salvage a sinking ship. In both instances, Oklahoma City's not winning a title forever, and I don't think Houston's winning a title now. They both felt like sinking ships. One wants to salvage it. This is not ideal. Westbrook and Harden's ideal. One is an atrocious analytic player, and both need the ball. I can see, listen, if I'm Sam Presti this morning, and most people, Vegas included, feel Houston won. If I'm Sam Presti this morning, and I've never been in this situation, but I've had friends who are in this situation. Westbrook was fighting with fans. He was fighting with media. It was ugly. I was told the owner of Oklahoma City was done with Westbrook. That after he blew up at fans this year 3 or 4 times, the owner was just done with it. It was bad optics. He was fighting with the media. The owner felt like, listen, man, this is just getting embarrassing. This thing's just not working. Let's move on, he told Sam Presti. But I have had friends before that are in relationships. And then, and it's a very financially good relationship. There's a lot of money. And they get a divorce, and they got to go live in an apartment. And they feel like they won. They're not held hostage. They wake up happy. Nobody's screaming at them. You know, Sam Presti This morning, I get a do-over. Yes, I'm not as rich. I don't have Westbrook. I don't have Paul George. We weren't in the West. We're not winning titles with that stuff. Maybe my apartment's small. Maybe I don't have the money. Maybe I don't have the wealth. But I wake up happy. I like scouting. I like finding new talent. Sam Presti probably likes that. Daryl Morey, yes, you got rid of a horrible contract and now have a bad contract. It should be noted, I'm looking at a graph right here, for those who think Houston won, with very few exceptions, once an NBA guard turns 31, the all-star years dry up. Russell Westbrook's turning 31 here real soon. I don't think either team won. They made the most of sinking ships. One's letting it sink and recouping their insurance money and starting over and building a new boat, and the other is going to try and salvage it. It'll look better for a while, but I don't think will translate to the ultimate prize. Coming up next, I believe that general managers, you know how like pro athletes, football players hang out with golfers, hang out with World Cup stars, Megan Rapinoe and LeBron yesterday hanging out, like athletes hang around athletes. Joy's brother, Jason Taylor's probably got a basketball or a hockey friend or something. GMs would be well served in baseball, football, hockey, basketball to hang out with each other because Bill Belichick could have taught Sam Presti a thing or two. Bill Belichick's golden rule, I'll tell you what that is next, could have saved the head.